We're here with Rosie Varela of EEP. So tell us about the roles that you play in EEP.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think first of all, I think um, I'm kind of like I'm just a band member. I'm a songwriter and I sing, play rhythm guitar, and whatever instruments happen to pop up, if it's flute or whatever comes up. And but I think I'm the one that was crazy enough to say, hey, why don't we put a band together of like the nicest people we know who really are like super creative, really nice people that have all kinds of different influences in music. And so I think I was the crazy person that kind of just said, why don't we try this? And then Ross was like, sure, why not? Because I just kind of said, what do you think about doing a shoegaze record? I've always loved shoegaze, and so it's like, it feels like it was a really good fit from the start with him, Sebastian. Then we brought in Serge, and then recently Lawrence Brown. So we're just like five peas in a pod.
So what got you into playing music and songwriting?
Well, I started making up songs when I was really, really little, and I was lucky. I'm the youngest of five, and my brother had an extensive record collection. So I grew up listening to classic Motown, to Beatles, to Brit pop, early '60s Brit pop, and then of course going into the '70s had a lot of influences with bands like ELO. And one of the things that I always loved was knowing the stories behind the songs, like knowing what George Martin did in the studio, or what various bands did to get the sound they were getting. And so I found myself writing and playing in local bands pretty much from, I would say, about age 29 on. So I got started a little late, and just started writing lots of songs, and picking up guitar kind of was my main instrument for that. But something really interesting kind of happened last year where I was so struck by like the idea of finally kind of going for like the sound that meant the most to me, that was expansive, that could like interpret emotion and interpret feeling in a way that like regular pop couldn't. So I'm really, really glad that I'm writing shoegaze now.
So tell us about your songwriting process for EEP.
So it usually has a story. I would observe something, and then I go home and I just start plugging away on the guitar until I find like a riff that sounds interesting. And I kind of, I'm not very sophisticated in the sense of my equipment. I use an iPad and I use GarageBand, and so I use this product called it's an iTrack iPad dock by Focusrite. And what it is it basically allows me to be able to input mics and input very, different instruments into it. So I'm able to kind of flesh out these little demos of a song. And so I'll do a little song demo and I'll bring it into Ross, our producer, and I'm like, hey Ross, what do you think of this one? I'm always crossing my fingers. Is he going to give it a pass, or is he going to? And he's always so great about it. And usually all the guys are here. We decide, hey, does this sound like, it could be on the record? And we kind of have this deconstruction process where we kind of tear it apart, figure out what could go, what could stay, what can we add, build upon. But we also have another process that's been really interesting that we'll just get together, and maybe the only thing we have is a riff or a key that we want to play in. And a couple of songs on the record are like this, where we just kind of within, I guess, about half an hour, come up with the main riff, come up with a bridge, and then we're like little kids at that point. Oh, okay, let's lay down the bass line, let's lay down. We work really fast, and there's a total freedom. We just like do whatever feels right in the moment. And I'd say 10 times out of 10, usually it's something that none of it, what each of us does is something that not the other ones would have done. So it's very surprising and unexpected. It's a lot of fun.
So any favorite moments in the studio recording songs for EEP?
I think it's like there's always a moment in every single song where we kind of are like little kids. We're like, hey, what if we blah blah blah, and then somebody's like, yeah, let's go figure this out, and we'll reverse engineer and we'll break things apart and we'll do weird sounds and we'll, it's a lot of play that's involved in this, and there's something about that creative spark that let's try this, that is just so much fun. And one of the things that I love the most about this project is it's kind of a low stakes project. We get together and we track one day a month, and then the second day of the month that we get together at the studio, we mix. And we kind of stagger between tracking, overdubbing, and mixing. And that has just been really great. It's kind of like when people can make it great, when they can, it's fine. We get everything done in a very like organic and relaxed way. So I just love it.
Okay, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you.